Letting go begins with you, beloved ones. When I speak of letting go, I am inviting you into the deepest intimacy with yourself. Letting go is not about leaving the world, leaving people, or abandoning your responsibilities. It is about releasing the tightness with which you hold your own being. The whole misery of humanity comes from clinging. You cling to ideas, to relationships, to memories, to wounds, to future dreams that may never come. But the most dangerous clinging is the one you have toward your own identity. I know this because I too have lived through it. In my early life, I clung to the idea of achievement, of being somebody special. The more I tried to become extraordinary, the more life pushed me back into myself. I would sit under a tree, feeling the weight of my ambitions until slowly it became clear that I was chasing shadows. The moment I relaxed, the moment I allowed my existence to be exactly as it was, a tremendous silence washed over me. That silence was the beginning of letting go. Letting go is not an effort. If you make it an effort, it becomes another form of clinging, clinging to the idea of I must let go. True release happens only when you stop fighting yourself. Imagine holding a fist tightly for hours. Eventually, the fist becomes painful. You don't need to force it open. Just stop holding it closed. This is letting go. You have been taught since childhood to grasp knowledge, grasp success, grasp security. Nobody taught you how to relax into the unknown. Yet the unknown is where life truly breathes. When you let go, you become a doorway for the unknown to enter. You become soft, receptive, available. You ask me, what if I let go and lose everything? You are already losing everything. Every moment, every breath is a letting go of the previous breath. Life itself is a continuous process of release. The trees let go of their leaves. The river lets go of its water. The clouds let go of their rain. Without letting go, nothing new can ever emerge. Look within. You will notice a constant tension, as if you are holding your entire life on your shoulders. This tension is not natural. It is taught. Once you begin to drop this burden, even for a moment, you will feel a lightness that you may have never experienced before. In that lightness, inner space begins to open. With inner space comes clarity, freedom, and a deep sense of being at home. Letting go begins with trusting yourself. Trust that life is not your enemy. Trust that existence has never betrayed you. Trust that when you release your grip, life will not let you fall. It will carry you as it has carried every flower, every star, every drop of rain. And when you trust, letting go becomes as natural as breathing. The illusion of control. Beloved ones, from the moment you open your eyes in the morning until the moment sleep carries you back into the unknown, you are trying to control life. You may not call it control. You may call it planning, managing, organizing. But beneath all these beautiful words lies a deep fear. The fear that you fear that if you do not control everything, something will go wrong. This fear is the seed from which your suffering grows. Life is not meant to be controlled. It is too vast, too mysterious, too alive. Trying to control life is like trying to hold the ocean in your hands. The tighter you hold, the more it slips away. In my own journey, I too struggled with the illusion of control. I believed that if I could shape every thought, every movement, every circumstance, I could remain safe. But life has its own intelligence, far greater than the mind's calculations. Again and again, it pushed me into experiences I had not planned, and each time I resisted, I suffered. Only when I surrendered did I begin to see the hidden grace behind the chaos. Your mind tells you that control is strength. In truth, it is weakness. The need to control arises only when you are disconnected from your own center. A centered person is not concerned with controlling life. He flows with life. He dances with the unpredictable, allowing existence to guide him just as the wind guide as a bird in the open sky. Look around you. Nothing in existence is controlled. The seasons come and go without your permission. The flowers blossom without seeking your approval. Even your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts, they arise and disappear without asking you. Life is living through you, not because of you. When you try to control it, you create a barrier between yourself and the very force that sustains you. The greatest illusion is believing that control brings security. In reality, the opposite is true. The more you try to secure life, the more insecure you become. You lock your doors not because the world is dangerous, but because your mind is. You plan every step not because the future is uncertain, but because the mind fears surrender. It cannot tolerate not being the master. That is why it invents control. But beloved, control is a cage. Golden perhaps, but still a cage. And the moment you taste even a drop of freedom, you will see how small that cage was compared to the vast sky waiting for you. When you loosen your grip, when you stop forcing life into your narrow expectations, something miraculous begins to happen. Life starts revealing its own rhythm. A rhythm far more harmonious than anything you could have orchestrated. You discover that existence has always been on your side. Surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of intelligence. It is saying to life, I trust you more than I trust my fear. And when this trust blossoms, the illusion of control dissolves like mist in the morning sun. You become weightless, available, open, and for the first time, truly alive. Emptiness is not a loss. Beloved ones, when I speak of emptiness, many of you become frightened. The very word reminds you of loneliness, of losing something imprecious, of being left with nothing. You have been conditioned to believe that fullness is life and emptiness is death. But this is an understanding. Your greatest potential is hidden in the very emptiness you fear. Emptiness is not a hole, it is a space. And only in space can growth happen. A seed must fall into the empty soil before it can sprout. The sky must remain open and unfilled so that clouds may pass, stars may shine, birds may fly. If the sky tried to hold on to anything, even for a moment, it would no longer be the sky. It would become a prison. In the same way, when you let go, an emptiness appears. Do not be afraid. This emptiness is the doorway to transformation. It is the silence from which your true being can emerge. When I first encountered this inner emptiness, even I felt a slight trembling. It felt as if the ground beneath my feet had disappeared. But slowly I realized that this disappearance was not a fall. It was a rising. Something within me was becoming light, spacious, unbounded. You have filled yourself with so many unnecessary things, beliefs that are not yours, fears inherited from your ancestors, hopes given by society, dreams planted by others. These fill you up, but they do not nourish you. When you begin to release them, a great clearing happens inside you, and what remains is a pure, open space. That space is your real nature. You ask, if I let go of what I know, what will remain? What remains is everything you actually need. Clarity, peace, creativity, presence. When the mind is stuffed with clutter, you cannot hear the whisper of your own heart. In emptiness, that whisper becomes a song. In emptiness, you meet yourself for the very first time. Imagine a cup that is already full. Even if the finest tea is offered, it cannot enter. You must first empty the cup. Only then can something new be poured. You too must become an empty cup. Only then can life fill you with its fragrance. But remember, emptiness is not something you do. It is something that happens when you stop holding on, when you release your grip on your fears, your desires, your stories. A space opens naturally. Do not create emptiness. Allow it, and when it comes, welcome it with gratitude. In that openness, something beautiful starts unfolding. You begin to feel more alive, more present, more connected. You discover that emptiness is not a void, but a presence. Your presence, it is stillness, but a living stillness. It is silence, but a singing silence. It is nothingness, yet overflowing with the potential for everything. When you understand this, emptiness becomes your friend, it becomes your temple. And in that temple, life begins to bless you in ways you could never have imagined. The evolve of what is meant for you, beloved ones. You often ask, Kimmy, why does what I wish for always stay just out of reach? Life responds to your openness. Whatever is meant for you does not come because you run toward it. It comes because you become available to receive it. The very act of chasing creates distance. Wanting something too intensely pushes it away. It is like trying to grasp a soap bubble. The harder you grasp, the quicker it bursts. In my early days, when I desire something deeply, I used to pursue it with all my strength. But again and again, life taught me a different lesson. It showed me that the moment I relaxed, the moment I allowed things to unfold naturally, the right circumstances, the right people, the right experiences arrived without struggle. Life works in its own rhythm, not in the rhythm of your ambition. What is meant for you is already moving towards you, but you stand in your own way. Your mind becomes a wall. Your expectation becomes doors locked from the inside. You shout, "Why is nothing coming to me?" But beloved, how can anything enter when you keep the door closed with your fears and desires pressed firmly against it? When you let go, a space opens. That space is an invitation. Existence sees that invitation and response. It is not magic. It is the nature of life. Trees do not chase the rain comes to them. Flowers do not beg for sunlight. The sun rises every morning to meet them. The river does not ask the ocean to receive it. It simply flows and the ocean embraces it. The same law applies to you. People come to me saying, I want love, I want peace, I want success. I tell them, first become empty enough to hold these things. If you are already crowded inside, crowded with fear, with expectation, with impatience, how can anything new enter you? Even blessings require space. When you stop chasing, you transform your energy. Instead of running outward, your energy begins to settle into your center. In that centeredness, you become magnetic. That which belongs to you finds you naturally. You don't have to shout for it, fight for it, or run after it. This is the secret. Life always brings you what is truly yours. The only question is, are you quiet enough, open enough, trusting enough to receive it? What is meant for you may not arrive in the form you expect. Sometimes existence sends it disguised. Sometimes it delays it to prepare you. Sometimes it removes. Wow. You cling to so that something greater can enter. You may not understand the timing of life, but if you trust, you will see later that everything arrived exactly when it needed to relax into this understanding. You cannot miss what is truly meant for you. Life is not against you. Life is waiting for you to stop resisting, to stop controlling, to stop chasing. And the moment you rest in yourself like a calm lake, existence begins to reflect its gifts upon your surface. When you become still, what is yours arrives quietly, gracefully, inevitably, your true self appears. Beloved ones, when I say that your true self appears only when you let go, I am speaking from my own experience of dissolving into being. You carry so many masks, some given by society, some inherited from your family, some created by your own fears. These masks become so familiar that you begin to believe they are you, but they are only layers, coverings, costumes. The real you remains hidden underneath, silently waiting for the moment you become courageous enough to drop the pretenses. In my own journey, there was a time when even I was tempted to identify with roles others placed upon me. People wanted to define me: a thinker, a teacher, a rebel, a mystic. Each label was a subtle cage. And I realized that if I accepted even one of those identities, I would lose my freedom. So I allowed each label to fall away like dry leaves. I did nothing to protect them. I simply stood empty. From that emptiness, a new presence arose, my authentic being untouched by expectations. You too are trapped in identities that do not belong to you. You say, I am this, I am that. I must behave this way, I must not do that. But all of these statements come from the outside. They come from conditioning, not from consciousness. And as long as you hold on to them, you cannot know who you truly are. Letting go of the false is the beginning of discovering the true. The moment you stop trying to become someone, you begin to be. The moment you stop performing for others, you begin to live for yourself. And in that moment of authenticity, an incredible freedom enters your being. Your true self is not something you must create. It is something you uncover. It is already there like a diamond buried under layers of dust. When you stop adding new layers, when you stop clinging to desires, fears, achievements, failures, the dust begins to fall away slowly. Gently, your inner radiance becomes visible. But this revelation requires trust. You must trust that who you are without your masks is enough. You must accept the risk of being misunderstood, judged, or criticized by those who only knew your false faces. Remember, when you begin to shine with your own light, those who depended on your darkness may feel uncomfortable. But this discomfort is their journey, not yours. As the false layers fall away, something beautiful begins to happen. Your presence deepens. You become more silent inside, more peaceful, more alive. Your actions become effortless because they come from your center, not from fear or ambition. You no longer need approval because you are rooted in your own being. You no longer fear erection because you have stopped rejecting yourself. And from this center of authenticity, a new kind of life unfolds. You begin to attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right experiences. Not because you chase them, but because your true self has a natural magnetism. It draws toward itself only what resonates with its purity. Letting go reveals you to yourself. And once you meet your true self, even for a moment, you will never again be satisfied with anything less than that inner truth, the final realization. Beloved ones, let us come to the very heart of this journey. When I say that letting go is not losing anything, but gaining everything, I am pointing you toward the final realization, one that cannot be taught, only experienced. Life becomes simple, beautiful, luminous the moment you stop struggling with it. The moment you stop insisting that life must follow your plan, life begins to reveal its plan for you. And its plan is always bigger, always more loving, always more intelligent than anything your mind can imagine. When you loosen your grip, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel held not by a person, not by a belief, but by existence itself. By existence, you realize you were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were meant to walk like a breeze that moves through the trees without leaving a mark, yet leaves everything refreshed. Letting go gives you wings. Holding on gives you chains. For so long you have been taught that strength lies in holding tight. But look at nature. The mightiest trees survive stones, not because they are rigid, but because they bend. Rivers find their way not by resisting, but by flowing around obstacles. Clouds drift freely, and in that freedom they bring rain, shade, and beauty. Life is carried by softness, not by strength. When you stop resisting something inside, you relaxes for the first time. A deep breath enters your being, not the breath of air, but the breath of freedom. Your mind becomes like a calm lake. And in that calmness, the reflection of truth appears. You begin to see that life has always been guiding you, even through the moments you misunderstood as chaos or loss, beloved. Understand this: nothing that is truly yours can ever be lost, and nothing that is not yours, no matter how hard you cling to it, will stay. This is the wisdom of letting go. The doors that close are not punishments, they are redirections. The endings you mourn are passages toward beginnings you cannot yet see. When you trust this, even sorrow becomes sacred, even uncertainty becomes a friend. Letting go is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning. It is the beginning. It is the point where you, sir, beginning, stop walking with fear and begin walking with faith. When you stop fighting life, you join hands with it. You become a participant in the dance of existence instead of a stubborn spectator trying to control the rhythm. With each moment of surrender, you become more aligned with the flow of life. People who resonate with your spirit find their way to you. Peace becomes natural, joy becomes spontaneous, and love becomes your very fragrance. And finally, a profound realization dawned. You are not separate from life. You are life itself, vast, infinite, ever-changing, ever new. There is nothing to hold on to because everything is already part of you. When you let go completely, life does not become smaller. It becomes infinite. And in that infinity, you discover your true home, silent, spacious, eternal.